You may begin.
Do I need to introduce myself, or y'all know who I am?
However you want to do it, Ms. Herrera.
Diana Herrera, Edgewood Independent School District, San Antonio, West Side, one exit away from Lackland Air Force Base.
All right, welcome.
I taught there 30 years, and then I taught 8 years at Our Lady of the Lake and 2 years at UTSA, University of Texas. I'm starting with the old teacher side in me. This is April 1998, and it says, it will be the largest privately funded school voucher project in the United States, and the first time a single district is targeted in a public to private school program. I have here the flyer that went out district-wide, and this flyer states right here to come to the public library in the Edgewood School District and get information on the school voucher program that had come into Edgewood. The back of it has the student application. I have the application also. Yes, I save everything I possibly can. The only reason that I have been very vocal for the past 25 years on this is because I taught in the campus, I taught there at school, and I was the assigned GT specialist for my campus at Henry B. Gonzalez Elementary. The reason I'm showing you this is because in 1997, according to the state-mandated TAS test, Edgewood had 0 low-performing schools. 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 0 low-performing. Yet, Dr. James R. Leininger, with his millions, came into Edgewood to save our children. Now, at that same time, our parental involvement volunteer hours were documented at 414,210. We had no problems in Edgewood. Not at that time. Not with many school districts that were failing in the state of Texas. I have the letter here that said, dear parent, grandparent, or guardian, this is 1998. Now the outside, because I got to see them as the kids were receiving them, as the parents were coming to school to show them to us, and it said, to the parents of Joe, to the parents of Mike, to the parents of Helen, but not Angie. You see, Angie was special ed, and she had special needs. They were not inviting her. It did not say to the parents of Angie. We had a young lady at Kennedy High School in a wheelchair. She was tube fed and she was diapered. The mama so desperately wanted her daughter to go to a Catholic school. She wanted the religion, she wanted the mass, she wanted the prayer. No one accepted her, no one. The school choice sure wasn't for her. We also had a young girl, speech therapy she needed. What they would do is across the street at the private school, someone from the campus would cross the street, bring that child into an Edgewood school, and our speech therapist would serve that child. That is what we were doing in Edgewood. The back of this has the list of the CEO, all the sponsors that they had. Little by little, they walked out on them. Little by little, USAA, the Express News, all of them, slowly but surely, they started to exit out because they found out what was going on and how that program was working. I have 3 questions, and this was written for Mr. Robert B. Aguirre. At that time, he was the director of CEO. And it said, why was Edgewood ISD selected? His answer was very cute, in quotes. Edgewood was selected because it was a national symbol of the struggle for funding equity for public schools. Gee, I knew that 25 years ago. You see, I was a 16-year-old junior at Edgewood High School when my classmates walked out of school. Why did they walk out of school? Because a bunch of teenagers were looking for equity in funding. And I just heard someone talk about Robin Hood and recaptured money. Still, every odd year, I'm waiting for our legislators to vote on this. The next one says, CEO, are we going to meet with the Edgewood board, the trustees, the administration? No, he said, and I have his quote. Will the CEO meet with a town hall meeting with Edgewood residents? No, Mr. Aguirre said again, and I have his quote also. I have the letter here with the CEO, the foundation, to Dr. Noe Sauceda, who was our superintendent at that time, and it says, later this week, we're going to be releasing information. Should you have any questions? Why? You've already said no to us over and over again. And I have this, came out in our local newspaper, and it had the Beeper store our little beeper store, right across the street from the cemetery. But now it's named El Shaddai New Hope Christian Academy. Well, El Shaddai was at our little strip mall with a shoe store and the restaurant and the grocery store and the barber shop, and everyone in that vicinity, everyone in that area were filing lawsuits. No, were filing complaints because the kids were screaming, yelling, and running the entire day. No one at that voucher school was an educator. They didn't have a curriculum, and they were not meeting the needs of any of the children. We also had Chano's dugout. Everybody knew Mr. Chano. He had the pool tables and he had the bar. Everybody knew Chano. He had a long fingernail and big old mustache. Anyway, once again, voucher people came in, took over his bar. We had a teacher who volunteered, went in undercover, and said, I want to bring my students to this school. You know, what curriculum do you have? They had no curriculum. Well, who here is degreed? No one was degreed. As a matter of fact, we then found out, and I'm going to use the word that was used locally in the newspaper and the news. They were carny people. The carnival people had come and taken over that Chano's dugout. 2 stories, 3 stories. Joe, and I heard someone mentioning this. Joe had 3 kids. He had been paying for private education for the time that his kids were growing up. He found out that the CEO was coming in with a privately funded voucher of $50 million for the next 10 years. So he went ahead and he put his children under his mama's address, and he was able to take advantage of the CEO's voucher program. We had a young lady that I had gone to the same high school with her, and I gave her the list. Here, I said, look, here's the Texas legislators during spring break. Do me a favor and call everybody and tell them no to vouchers. And she grabs me, she says, Diana, I'm for vouchers. And I'm looking at her because she's a neighborhood kid, and I'm looking at her, I said, why? She said, because our minister says that if we go with vouchers, we can have a new church built. And I looked at her and I said, but you have an identified gifted child in elementary, and you have a high school student, a child, in high school. This minister is going to serve their needs? And she said, yes. He said he'll work with all our kids. Is he degreed? Curriculum? Certification? No. But Diana, we're going to get a new church. I held her hands because I understood the pressure that must be put on so many people when it comes to their religion and their beliefs. My G2 students, my gifted identified students, returned the following week, 3 weeks after that, because they were not meeting their needs. The bell curve from one end of the spectrum for my gifted kids to the other end for our very severely at need special ed students, their needs were not being met at all. We had David. Oh, let me tell you about David. He was defiant, difficult, disruptive. Very smart.
Ms. Herrera, can you? Just-
Last one. This is it. This is the last one.
That's what I thought. I got you.
Okie dokie. And the mama came and said, I'm getting my children out of here and I'm going to a private school. There's better teachers. Within 1 week, the whole family had been kicked out of that school. 2 weeks later, the mama goes to drop off the kids and they escort her. Come here. We need you inside the office. Sign the paperwork here and take your 4 children out of the school. Within 3 weeks, that parent was back at Henry B. Gonzalez Elementary begging for forgiveness. Those are my stories. Thank you.